Good evening, everybody. It's July 27th, 2021. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see what we're dealing with. So, if you remember from yesterday, I had gone back to this potential bullish count, even though this too was deeper than I liked, as a possibility based on the short squeeze that we saw. So we have one here in the blue count, one. We've got two down here, and we are working on 3 right now, this blue 3, which should get us to about the 1.618 extension at $43,100, somewhere in that range. Within this 2 to 3, I've been looking for the 5 waves up there, and this is a pretty good third wave right here with this short squeeze that happened. Third waves should really be the strongest waves in any move, and so that's a very strong indication that is a third. We then have kind of an unconventional ABC, I believe. This is how I'm counting it at this point, based on the new action. As a flattened ABC like this, it's not not out of the realm of possibility by any means, but it's not sort of your typical ABC down in a diagonal. So A here, B here, C here came down into the ideal zone for this. If it hits the 1, 2, 3, 6, usually you see it come down to the 7, 6, 4. So we didn't quite get that low. And at first, just so you know, I was thinking that maybe this was 3 here, and we would see an A, a B here, and a C down further to hit this range. But now that we've gone up further to really match these highs, I believe that is less likely, and the more correct count technically would be this one. So that's why I've got that on there as an ABC, as an expanding flat like that. So that should have completed the 4th wave of the 3rd, and we should be heading into the 5th wave of the 3rd right now. So what we need to see is for Bitcoin to continue push upwards here into this range between 40,700 and 43,100, and ideally, based on this going to the 1, 2, 3, 6 and how shallow this is, we really should see it hit that upper target around 43K. Could even extend a bit further to just tap this downtrend. That would be ideal. So we might extend all the way up into the 44K region. After that, I do expect, just based on Elliott wave theory, I do expect that we see a 4th wave down at that point. Okay, not only based on Elliott wave theory, also based on the fact that this is a downtrend from our 65K high here to this lower high at 60. It would not be surprising at all to see a rejection there. So between Elliott wave theory and that downtrend, rejection in that 43, 44K area seems quite likely. And then from there we should see this kind of action down. I mean, it could always play out as an A, B, and C, expanding flat, whatever. But basically 3 waves of some description, 3 waves of some description coming down. And ideally, this would hold, if it gets all the way to 1618, ideally this top zone here would hold at 37.2. It could go down as deep as 35,158 and not break the structure, but certainly at no point should it go below this $33,950. Below this 618 is bad. So I am officially saying that's my stop on anything that I do with Bitcoin. That red line is the place to get out. It really should not go below that if it was going to continue upwards in this pattern. So that's my invalidation for this pattern. Of course, something can happen, after this that would make me change my mind. It gets another 5 waves up, whatever. But for the moment, that is invalidation for this particular pattern. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. This is a great place if you're in any longs to get out of them, leverage longs especially. I'm probably not going to be selling my spot Bitcoin in that range, but you could, if you wanted to play a little dangerously, you could. Like I said, third waves are always the strongest, so there is always the chance that this, extends upwards. We get some extension, and if it punches right through this downward trend line, we could get a very strong extension in this third. I mean, it could just keep going, especially if that liquidates more shorts. Certainly possible. So, I'm not telling you to short the bull market here potentially. I'm just saying this is a decent place to deleverage on leverage longs. And if we do get the pullback that's expected into this area, this is a fantastic place, right around anywhere between 35 and 37, to get back into some leverage longs, because from there we would expect to finally punch through this trend line and get up into this 44 to 47 area. And assuming all of this plays out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if all of that plays out for us, then from there we can look for a pullback again, because this would then be our first wave up, and we'll look for a second wave down, probably to test this trend line somewhere, depending on how long it takes, and then up from there into our third wave of this final wave in this bull market. So that is the zones. Those are the zones to watch for. Let's see if it continues to play out. If you're not in any leverage longs, I certainly don't suggest longing now. We're coming up into resistance. I would wait for this to fully play out and then long on the pullback. One final thing to note is that we did have a very significantly deep 2 here, and so 4, it is very possible that 4 becomes very shallow because of that. A lot of times either 2 is deep or 4 is deep, but not necessarily both. So because of this deep and long 2, we really could have a shortened 4, so we may see it bounce even here. And that's obviously, this was resistance in here as well, so it actually makes sense if it broke through here and came back to retest this support. That might give it enough juice then to go right from there through. But that is obviously unclear until it actually plays out. So for the moment, I'm using the ideal area here, but keep it in the back of your mind that 39K might be enough. Once we get into this area, that might be enough to bounce Bitcoin from there. So all right, that's the end of the update for tonight. Let's see what the overnight action brings us. I'd really love to see us push up into this area overnight to kind of prove the market wants to follow through on this. So fingers crossed that the bulls have what it takes, and I will see you guys tomorrow.